Republicans should really be thinking about is those working class folks that thought Donald Trump was going to give them a pathway to wealth. He talks about bringing wealth. Wealth for who? Most people are just trying to get out of poverty to the middle class or middle class and stabilize. We talk about billionaires. There's nothing wrong with being a billionaire. If I could be a billionaire, I would be one too. But it's what billionaires do, like a Elon Musk. It's the oligarchs that folks are saying that exploit poor people and think you can just have disposable income on a bad day.
Well, your point was larger.
But I wonder, though, we had 4 years of the Biden-Harris administration where the deficit went up, debt went up, the cost of living went up, the cost of groceries went up, the cost of child care went up. Every single sector you could look at that you could measure economically went up. It's not as if Donald Trump was handed this amazing, incredible economy that he's now all of a sudden destroying. We, Republicans, are going to have to fix what Democrats completely destroyed over 4 years. So I don't think you can blame Republicans for what we're seeing.
Michael Steele, leave government to those of us who do government. Mr. Steele, we tried that. And you know what you gave us? $36 trillion in debt, $9.1 trillion in inflation, 8 million people crossing the border, the fall of a country and the death of 13 heroes, and wars into others. So we've let the government people try, and they've failed. Now let Elon Musk and Donald Trump, and rooting against SpaceX, for those who did that in that soundbite, they're trying to get 2 astronauts who have been stranded since the Biden administration out of space. So don't you dare root against SpaceX. Root for those 2 astronauts. Yeah.
Now they want to worry about the economy, right? As you guys know, sorry from the intro, Democrats are wishing for America to fail. Like, it's so baffling to me how Democrats, to spite Trump, want our lives to be harder, worse than it was before. And as you saw from the intro, Shawn Michael and Kayleigh McEnany, they point out how Biden oversaw the highest inflation rate in 40 years, right? And this little splaining they're trying to do, everyone's not buying it. The media, like, they peaked in 2016, 2017, and they still couldn't stop a Trump presidency. And I want to go back to this article where I was talking about how The Guardian, right? The Guardian claimed that majority of Americans falsely believed that Biden economy was bad 8-9 months ago at the time of me recording this video. Then Politico comes out and says voters were right about the economy. The data was wrong. And this is talking about, hey, here's why unemployment is higher, wages are lower, and growth less robust than the government statistics suggested. And many people are not buying it. I think we have to give Donald Trump at least 6 months. Anything right now is, in my estimation, and in many people's estimation, many people see this as Biden's inflated economy must fall because Biden's economy was inflated. We all have to admit this. Biden suffered 2 negative GDP growth, and the entire mainstream media reinterpreted or framed it as a non-recession. Oh, this is not a real recession. Remember that? Y'all remember that? In 2022, I made a video saying, I believe we're in a recession. I remember I said that in a video in 2022. I said, we're in a recession. But the media people are saying, no, we're not in a recession. We're not in a recession. The same way they told us that Biden's economy was good. Look at the historic GDP growth. Then you find out, almost 40, damn near majority of the jobs created for Joe Biden was government jobs. So using taxpayer money to create jobs to fluff up your job numbers. How nice. And now Donald Trump cut government jobs, but at the same time increase private sector jobs. That's not a good thing. And that's why I say in these job statistics, government jobs should not be counted because you can't give government direct ability to fluff up its own numbers. How many times that Joe Biden's numbers had to get corrected before the election? 818,000 jobs had to be revised, aka they overstated or lied about having 818,000 more jobs than was actually out there in reality. During Biden's economy, people such as myself and others were complaining about ghost jobs. Jobs that, look at all these jobs, but no contacts, no hit backs. It's like, what is this weird thing? People were complaining about, college graduates were complaining about how hard it was to find a job during Biden's economy. Yet the Democrats, as you saw from the intro, will pretend that all of a sudden all this happened under Trump. America, Trump's only been in office for 50 days? He has not even passed a bill yet. If I'm remembering things correctly. Egg prices are starting to go down now. Interest rates are slowly ticking downwards. It's trending in the right direction. And I think it's fair, I'm just being objective, non-political here. I'm putting my independent hat on here. I think we got to give him at least 6 months to see what he does with this. But the fact that the Democrats are out here, essentially, this is the message of the Democratic Party. Donald Trump isn't fixing our mess fast enough. Essentially, that's what it is. But I digress. I want you to take a look at the Treasury Secretary Benson on the stock market and kind of highlight a narrative that I think the left don't want to acknowledge. Let's take a look.
If we ever went down 20% on the NASDAQ or 15% on the S&P, with people that want Trump to fail, that's going to be splayed across every newspaper in the world. I'm just wondering whether the tolerance for something like that for the administration.
Well, look, as you said, Joe, the market was up 20% last year, 20%
So there
the
is
year
some
before.
house money.
No. I'm going to put it another way.
Okay.
Did the Biden administration succeed? The American people weren't buying it just because the market was up. They voted out. They voted out the Democrats.
Question related to the regulatory or deregulatory agenda, which I think is.
There you go. And even Benson himself, the Treasury Secretary, talked about how the economy got into, I want to say fat, but they got into used to government money circulating in the market, which caused an overinflated economy. This is why the rich, right? And I talk about this stat all the time on this channel. This is why people who made more money on average said inflation was less of an issue, because the more money you make, the more likely you are to have assets. Inflation benefits people who have assets. That's the majority of the rich. That's where the majority of the wealth comes from. And people want to complain about, like, I forgot her name. The Ashley, I forgot her name, the one in the intro, the Democratic operative on CNN. She want to complain about how the billionaires are using and abusing poor people. But what about the Democrat billionaires, right? They're just shameful out here, asking who's going to pick the cotton. The elites disinherited the American working class by shipping good-paying jobs overseas and importing serf underclass. And when you pointed out, they bride that our economy now relies on illegals working for awful pay under awful conditions, so we can't fix it. It's circular, inhuman, and simple wage theft for their neighbors. Right? This is CEO Larry Fink. I think he's a billionaire, right? Lives in New York. Liberal. If he sit here trying to lie to you and tell you, "Oh, I'm an independent," he's lying. You're from New York. You're a billionaire in New York. You're a Democrat. Sorry, that's the assumption people's gonna have of you. Oh, we're gonna have enough workers to harvest the crops. I've been told members of the Trump team that they were going to run out of electrician. What? I like him saying it in his own words, but how is this not using and abusing vulnerable, poor people? But Elon Musk finding waste, fraud, and abuse, trying to make our government give us the same services with less money, taken out of our, because at the end of the day, we pay the government. This is something that seems like the Democrats don't seem to understand. Our tax money pays the government. So the tax, if someone comes into you, let's put our business hat on. Someone comes to you and say, I can give you the same result for less money. You want to take that deal? Every American will take that deal. So if every American is paying into the government for the most part, and someone's saying, hey, I'm trying to give you the same services from the government, but it's going to cost you less. How's that working against the poor? How's that working against the poor? And this is why I said the Democratic Party, you're not the party of the working class. So stop pretending you are. You're the party for Larry Fink. You're the party of the elite. You're the party of Hollywood. You're the party of the rich. Because think about it. Illegal workers coming into a country where they don't have as much rights as a legal migrant and a citizen. Who can you underpay the most out of that equation? The illegal. You want them to massively come over there so you can get cheap labor, which long-term hurts the American worker? But Democrats are the party of the working class. Get out of my face. Don't lie to me like this. Y'all need to get a better playbook. And many Democrats are starting to call it out, like Van Jones talking about how, hey, look, I think Democrats are in an identity crisis.
This last week, we did see them some people try to protest during the president's address, and then House leadership getting onto them, other Democrats calling them out. They still seem to be wandering around trying to figure this out. What's your take?
Can we ask another question? Do I have to talk about my own party? Can we talk about Ukraine or something? No. Look, man, we're screwed. I mean, we don't know. No, Democrats don't know what to do. This is a nightmare. Somebody like Donald Trump, we thought we'd at least have Hakeem Jeffries in the speaker's chair to hold him back if we didn't have Kamala in there to do the right thing. Listen, the Democratic Party is going through a massive set of internal crises. You have a party that got trapped two ways. One, defending a broken status quo that nobody likes because they thought that Donald Trump was going to make it worse. But when you're defending the status quo, you're going to lose. And then offending most people in the country, calling everybody sexist and racist and transphobic and every other name, and then saying, please follow us. That's not a good strategy, folks. Defending a broken status quo and offending most of the country turns out is not as popular as my party thought it was going to be. And so it's going to take a while for people to get it figured out. I don't like talking about this. I'd rather be beat up. Can you give me something I can beat up Shermichael about? I don't want to talk about my own party.
I love coming back to this article here. See, 9 months ago. Sorry about all this. See, majority of Americans wrongly believe U.S. is in a recession and most blame Biden. This was 9 months ago, guys. And you saw from the intro, right? This was March 2022. This was in May 22nd, 2024. And then literally a couple months later, right? Way more than a couple months later, voters were right about the economy. Data was wrong. Many Democrats were puzzled by the seemingly disconnected economic reality. No, you people were disconnected from the economic reality. And Democrats are showing themselves yet again being disconnected from the political reality of where they are right now. They're still defending what they had Dylan Mulvaney on The View. Turn off the comments. Like, come on. Democrats, like, as much as the reasonable people in the Democratic Party try to speak out, this feel-good Kool-Aid that the Democratic Party and their supporters, or the more radical end of their supporters, they can't help themselves. You're like it makes perfect sense what Van Jones said. They're the party that defends status quo, right? How can you defend an institution like the Department of Education? Because I'm going to talk about that now. You guys know education is a very important topic of mine. I think if you told me, Keeney, what's the top 3 issues that you as a conservative worry about? Education is number 1 for me, because education will determine the future of your country. And right now, the United States of America spends $800 billion on the Department of Education just so we can have the worst academic outcomes out of every nation in the world, yet we spend the most money on it. Make that make sense. You can't. But Democrats defend it, though. Oh, if Donald Trump dismantles the Department of Education, kids won't know how to read. 60% of public school kids don't know how to read at grade level right now. What are you talking about? If you look at Chicago and a lot of these Democratic states, they have some of the worst education. Illinois being the number 1 in my head, like off the top of my head, has the worst education. Illinois. Everywhere you do a comparison between public school and private school, a school managed by the government versus a school not managed by the government, the school not managed by the government has a better outcome than the school managed by the government. Make that make sense. On my live stream, I exposed a girl graduating with honors from high school, and she doesn't know how to read or write. You think I'm lying? That is correct. Watch. In my education video, I'm going to go through it with you guys, because this is the kind of ish that Democrats defend. This is why Democrats was not the party of change. I called it. I said Donald Trump's the change candidate, because Kamala Harris, she said she wouldn't do nothing different from Joe Biden. And you already saw what Joe Biden did. And also, another point I'll add in and I'll end off with this is that my point for why people should have voted for Trump was the fact that Donald Trump, every step he takes will be visible and scrutinized. I told America, hey, if you let Kamala Harris win, the media would never cover none of her shortcomings, none of her failings. They won't be as transparent. They won't be as motivated to cover her. With Trump, you see his every move. You know his every step. You probably know what he had for breakfast. That's how much the media will be covering him to find a mistake, to find something to attack him on. And I said, if you want change, you have to give it to Donald Trump because he'll be incentivized to fall through with what he said, or else the media is really going to come after him. And lo and behold, this is why the Democrats are in my estimation, right? In my humble estimation, Donald Trump has time currently. And the way he's moving, I like the speed in which he's moving. Donald Trump has 6 months, in my view, right? Before the narratives really start sinking in. Because right now, America, we're giving him the benefit of the doubt. We're like, yo, he got it. But I think it's important for people to understand that this is a long-term play. And nothing good ever happens without some sacrifice. We have to make some sacrifice. And I think many Americans understand this. But the Democrats and the media, they're trying to play into this sentiment that, oh, Donald Trump doesn't care about the economy. He's being distracted by other issues. But they don't want to highlight how the Democrats are trying to get in his way. You have to love it about the mainstream media. But I digress. I want Scott Jennings to close us out with this segment here.
Let me ask you a question. You've been around a long time.
Yeah.
Would you judge a presidency based on 1 day or 6 weeks?
6 weeks.
You would judge
you
a whole
gave me a choice. You gave me a choice.
I'm asking. Would you judge a presidency on 1 day in the markets or a 6-week period after having just taken over?
I wouldn't. But if he's someone who said, as soon as I take office, what you're going to see is prices lower and growth, and the economy is going to be great, then you can hold them to the 6 weeks and say, no. That's what's happened is the opposite of what you promised.
We could say the same thing about Democrats. I won't pardon my son, pardons his son. So we can never trust the Democrats again. Like let's call it a spade a spade. This is what my problem with Democrats. Y'all have to pick and choose your positions until it comes back and hit you in the face. Day one, Donald Trump tried to lower everything. He tried to lower pricing for eggs. He's trying to do all that stuff, but it's not happening fast enough for your liking. And this is the argument that I'm having against some certain people. Interest rates are coming down, but they're coming down like 0.1%. Like it's like barely noticeable, but they are coming down. But it ain't coming down fast enough. He ain't fixing the Democratic mess fast enough. That's how I'm getting. This is the perception that I'm getting. Let me know yours in the comment section.
When you're on the campaign trail.
So in 6 months from today, if it looks like we do have an upswing in manufacturing and it looks like the structural changes are benefiting people, will you come back and say, Lord have mercy, it looks like he was right?
I will.
We'll see. We'll see. Well, Democrats are in a rock and a hard place, but hey, they put themselves in this position in the first place. But hey, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you agree with what I had to say? 6 months from now, Donald Trump has about 6 months before sentiments might start shifting. What are your thoughts on Trump's moves so far? I think he's already attracting a lot of investment. What, like $1 trillion in investment? He got more investment, I think, in a couple months than Joe Biden had his entire term as president. So there's some good signs there to set us up for long-term growth. And I think that people have to be a little bit more patient. And I think that the media is actively trying to make America impatient. And I think that's the sentiment that I'm trying to highlight here and expose for all you guys. Let me know if you guys are in line with what I'm thinking or you guys think differently. Express yourself in the comment section. I'll be interested to hear your thoughts, your opinions, your views. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Appreciate you guys watching to the end of the video. Please share this video if you feel so inclined. It really does help me out in the algorithm. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.